My check engine light on my truck came on, and that's not surprising because it's 20 years old and it's on a rebuilt title. Unfortunately, it also started doing this thing that when I start driving, it goes and then like if I try to go up a hill, it's like and then it slows down. So that tells me that the engine is misfiring. So I'm going to replace the ignition coil and also the spark plugs and hope that that fixes the problem. Since I'm working with electric components, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery because I don't want to have any shorts. I don't want to mess up the electric system of the truck. If you don't know how to disconnect the battery on your vehicle, then you might want to call a mechanic. The ignition coil looks like this. Electricity comes in here, and then it has a certain order that it shoots electricity out of these, and that goes into the spark plugs, and that's what makes the engine turn. My engine coil is right here, and it has these cords coming out of it, so I need to take those cords off of here and put them in the new engine coil. To do that, I squeeze these, and I pull up on it, and it looks pretty good in there. I want to make sure it's not corroded and there's nothing gross in there. Next, I'm going to take some dielectric grease. This is made to stop corrosion, but it also conducts electricity really well. So you can stick it on there, and I want to make sure I put it on the same port that I took it off of. This would be easier if I was a little bit taller. When I took this off, I can see that this has worn through. The shaking of the engine has rubbed that against this here, and it's worn almost all the way through that cable. So I'm going to need to replace that cable, but I'm not doing that today. I'll probably do it today, but not in this video. Now that all those cables are transferred from here to here, I'm going to remove this. This is just held on by 4 bolts that are pretty easy to take out. Now that those 4 bolts are out, this can just move. It has a little clip right here that is broken. I'm gonna fix that later. So I guess that cord should just slide out of the back. It doesn't have anything holding it in, which is unfortunate. There we go. And then the new one will slide right down in there. I'm gonna reposition these so that's up on top so it's not rubbing in that same spot. And line these up, just get those started. So I got this tightened down just to where it starts to have some pressure. I'm just going to put a couple of quarter turns in there. That'll be tight enough. I really should invest in a torque wrench so I could get it down to the right amount of pressure, but I don't have one. So now I'm going to go ahead and start my engine and see if it runs a little bit smoother or see if the problem was something else. Well, that was definitely worse. I checked those connections. Remember this cord that we unplugged from the back of it? I didn't plug it into the new one. So I've unplugged it and plugged it back in. Let's see if it'll work now. It's still idling a little bit rough. You can see every once in a while the engine jiggles and it's not quite there. So I'm going to replace the spark plugs. Spark plugs look like this. They go into your engine and there's a little spot right there that it makes a spark. And that's what makes combustion in your engine that makes it go. Spark plugs have a special socket called a spark plug socket that's made to go over this to screw them in and out. So if I follow these blue lines and see where they go into the engine, it's going to be somewhere like that. That's the other end of that blue line. And that is on the spark plug. So I'm going to take that and pull it out. And the end of that looks like this. The part of the spark plug that's sticking out looks like that, and this goes over that, and it clamps onto there. So I have my wrench down on there. It's on that spark plug, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. I had to switch to a better wrench, but now it's coming. So I got out the old spark plug, and this is the new spark plug. It looks so much better. Make sure you don't touch it anywhere around there. That's all the electricity stuff. I'm going to get this started by hand, and I don't want to force it. It should turn nice and easy. And so I'm turning this by hand. That way I don't get it too tight. So how's your day going? Mine's been better. Once I couldn't tighten it with my hand anymore, I did 1 quarter turn with my wrench. And down in there, that's what that spark plug looks like sticking out. So now I'll take this and shove it back on there until it's kind of clamped on there. You'll know when it can't pull off. 1 down, 5 to go. Sometimes you need to get into places that are really hard to get to, and I Wish my arms were a little bit skinnier. The spark plugs come with cardboard on one end, so it makes them real easy to stick in your socket and pull that cardboard off without touching any of this. This is like a fun game of operation. I don't know if fun's the right word. Just trying to not get grease on this thing. On this passenger side, it's way down in here. It's a really tight spot. All right, so I changed all 6, started it up. Sounds great.